I'm trying to write 50,000 words in only 28 days. I briefly considered whether or not I should try to just finish the 12,000 words today. I think today might be the day where I finish my contemporary romance for the first time. I have completed the first draft of my contemporary romance. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Meadow and I am an independent fantasy and romance author. I am in the last stretch of my writing challenge. For those who don't know, I'm trying to write 50,000 words in only 28 days. I have about 7 days left of this challenge and I have 12,000 words to write. This has been a super interesting challenge for me to do because I'm very much an underwriter, so I don't typically get to 50,000 words within a first draft especially, and also with the time constraint being only 28 days. I had made it this way because I had about 28 days from about the end of July to the end of August that I wanted to get this draft done in order to write. We are just going to hop right into this video and start writing this morning. It is just after 9 o'clock on a Monday morning and I want to get some writing done, so let's get to it. Today I am starting with writing the climax of the book. I gave it a couple of words on Saturday, but the chunk of the climax is happening this morning. I know it for sure. This scene in the book has been the most detailed one in my outline since the beginning. It has a lot of dialogue in the outlines, and so I'll kind of see if I actually want to use a lot of that today. I'll kind of figure that out as I go. But I've been very excited to write this scene because it's very emotionally charged, and I love a good emotional scene. And then from this point onward, it's going to be a little bit of the typical Act 3 breakup, which is interesting considering it's a fake dating situation, so they weren't really dating, but in terms of like rom-com and romance books, it is the third act breakup is going to be happening after this, and kind of seeing how my characters come back together. So I am quite excited to write this, and yeah, I kind of want to get into this. So maybe later in the day I'll kind of go more into detail about what this is going to look like, but for now I'm just going to get into writing. Hello, I'm back for a little writing update. So I've written for about 2 hours now. It is 11:40 right now as of recording this, but that's because I've taken a couple of little breaks in between my little sprints here. So right now I am at 40,836 words. So I wrote over 2,000 words in this first writing session here, which is over my word count for the day, but that is okay. I'm gonna just keep trucking on. I have the day to keep writing. I have a feeling that I'm going to finish this writing challenge before the 7 days are up. Like technically I'm writing through into the weekend, but because of how quickly I write, I think I'm going to get there before. Writing over 2,000 words in 2 hours is a lot. I am definitely the kind of writer that can, if I have the scene outlined, which I outline all my scenes well ahead of time, I can just keep writing. I don't typically stop very often. It is very interesting. So I'm the type of writer that writes a lot of words pretty quickly. I write everything down that's going on in my head, what I want for the scene. It doesn't always mean that my first drafts are super detailed or as polished as I want them to be, but I don't see my first drafts as that at all. It is very much just getting the story down. I don't edit as I go typically. If I find that I am missing a little bit in a scene, maybe I'll scroll back up and like add a little bit in if I thought of something throughout writing the scene. But typically I'm very much of a person that just writes. It's interesting to me considering that this is going to be my first draft that has 50,000 words in it. I think that to me means that I'm going to have a fairly detailed first draft, which is nice. Nice to know going ahead. I am going to continue writing, even though I'm well past the word count goal for the day. This week I have no shifts at work, so it is very much going to be me just writing, which is great for me. I expect to write at least another 1,000 words today, if not more. We'll see how that goes, but I'll keep you guys updated. Hello, I am back for a writing update. I took a little walk this afternoon, as you might have seen. I've been trying to be more active as much as I can, especially for my longer writing days, since I'm sitting in front of a screen all day. And then after I came home, I did another writing session. I ended up getting to over 6,000 words written for today, which is phenomenal. I briefly considered whether or not I should try to just finish the 12,000 words today and say I wrote 12,000 words in a day and finished my manuscript, but then I realized I don't think I want to pressure myself into doing that, as cool as that would be. So I am not doing that, but today I wrote a couple of pretty emotionally charged scenes, one of them being the initiating thing that starts the Act 3 breakup, and then I wrote a pretty sad but also heartwarming scene between one of my main protagonists and her mother. They have a pretty complicated relationship, and it ended up being a little bit more difficult for me to write than I originally thought, which is another reason why I'm deciding to take a break today for sure. I have over 50,000 words left to write. Theoretically, I could get that done tomorrow. I have another day tomorrow where I have nothing else to do other than write, and I'm thinking I can get it done. That is my new goal. It would be super cool if I could get it done tomorrow. Not that I'm trying to rush this project or anything, but I think that I'm getting so excited to reach this milestone for the very first time that I'm quite eager to get it done. So we're going to see how that goes tomorrow. For the meantime, I'm going to take the evening off, eat some dinner, probably either play a video game or maybe watch a new show. Not sure yet. I'll figure it out. Yeah, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. I am waking up bright and fresh. I feel good this morning. I feel like I'm going to do a lot of writing today. I think today might be the day where I finish my contemporary romance for the first time, which is super, super exciting. I have about 5,600 words to write, I think is what I'm remembering correctly. Actually, I haven't opened up my computer yet. I just have eaten breakfast and made myself a chai. I think I have around that word count. And I mean, yesterday I wrote more than that. So it is very, very possible that I'm getting this done today. It is very exciting, and I think only exciting. I don't think I'll have as much of an emotional response as I did with some of my previous books, because this book I haven't been working on for years at a time and had the concept for because of this short amount of time that I've been working on it. However, I do think regardless, I'm going to just be happy that it's done because it is such a huge accomplishment in itself. That'll be interesting. We'll have to see by the end of the day when I'm done. Hi. So I know this is a very quick back into talking to the camera, but it's because I remembered something that I forgot to mention in the beginning of this day. What's going to be interesting for these last few chapters. So just to give you an idea, I have 3 chapters left. It is the last 2 final chapters of them getting back together, and then the epilogue. What's interesting about this is that there was supposed to be, essentially I combined 2 chapters together into one because the scene didn't make sense to be split up in 2 like that. Because I have less chapters towards the end here, it means that my word count for these chapters has to be more than what I was originally doing. I was kind of keeping track of the fact that it would be about 1,500 words per chapter almost throughout the whole book in order to get to 50,000 words. And so now it's at a point where I actually have to get up in the high 1,800 words in order to even reach 50,000 words before the end of this. And so I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it to 50,000 words. If I get to the end and I'm off by a little bit, it is going to make me so sad. And I know it's not the end of the world. I can just fix it and add some more words here and there, but I want to be able to write like the end and be at 50,000 words. Over 50,000 words even. So I think that for these last few chapters, it is going to take me a little bit longer in terms of just words on the page so that I can make sure that I'm getting these words in, if that makes any sense at all. I'm going to be working a little bit harder and trying to extend these chapters by a little bit, which I think won't be too difficult because there is a lot of stuff that we kind of need to wrap up in the story before it ends. So I think we'll be okay. That is something that is going to be different towards the end of the book here. That was all I needed to say. Now we're actually going to get into the writing. Okay, everyone, we are in the final stretch now. I have 1 chapter left to write. It is just the epilogue. We are currently at 48,140 words, which is crazy. So I have a lot of words to write in order to get to the 50,000 word mark. The epilogue, I know, is going to be definitely one of the longest chapters in this book, just because it is checking in with the characters, what's happened, and that sort of thing. Because it is set 5 months later after the chapter before. This is crazy. I don't really have much else to say other than the fact that I'm just appalled. Not appalled, that's not the right word. So shocked that I was able to complete this challenge, and in even less days, because technically I have 6 days left. What I could do is I could not write these words, or I could write like 200 words a day for the next 5 days and I'd be fine and I'd make it to the end of the challenge. So the fact that I am just so close to reaching this is, I don't know. I'm just excited. And I know I've said that many times at this point, but I don't have any other words to express this feeling of doing a challenge like this, pushing myself in so many different ways here with the time constraint, with the word count goals. I just can't believe that I'm able to do this, and that this is what I've been spending my summer doing, essentially. And this is what I hope that I can do for the rest of my life, is just be able to write these stories that I love so much. And I think it is been such a privilege that I've been able to do this all summer. I'm overjoyed, and I'm not even finished yet. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break here because I have been working for almost 3 hours straight, essentially. And then I'm going to write the final chapter in my contemporary romance. Oh my goodness. I have done it. I have completed the first draft of my contemporary romance. So I ended up getting to 50,050 words, which is strangely beautiful. I like a nice even number. That was completely unintentional. So what's next for me right now? I'm going to take a break, definitely for the rest of the day. I wrote a lot of words today, and I think I need to not do any more writing today. Just because I'm feeling a little bit on like a writing high right now, and a little bit like I think I need a break away from my screen. It is really surreal every time I finish a first draft because the story is done in a way. I don't know where my characters are going to go from there. So it's really interesting to be done and kind of move on from this project for a bit. I have mentioned before in a previous video that I'm going to be working on my main project, which is Project Pirate, that starting in September I am doing the third draft of that one. So this project, Project Art Lit, is going to be kind of on the back burner for a little bit until I have the time to come back to it. I wasn't sure that I was ever going to come back to this one after this challenge, because when I first started this challenge, I wanted to push myself to do these new things, the word count, the time constraint, that sort of thing. And it wasn't necessarily a story that I felt needed to be told or was extraordinary in any sense of the word. It just felt very much like a friends to lovers, fake dating, contemporary romance. But as I wrote into Act 3, I really started to see that there actually is, I think, a little bit of a deeper meaning behind my novel. There are a lot of themes of discovering who you are and acceptance in that person and dealing with grief in certain ways, whether that is through the death of a loved one or a person that isn't dead but is no longer in your life, that sort of thing. So I think that this story actually is worth coming back to in the future. I want to bring in those themes earlier on so that it fills out the story a little bit. This project has been so fun to write and to document and be able to share, because even just through these 2 videos of just parts of me working on this, I can almost see a difference in my own writing, even just through writing one manuscript. I am so excited for the future of this project, and I'm even more thrilled to be starting on Project Pirate again once September comes. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been part 2 of me trying to write a 50,000 word novel in only 28 days. As we know now, I did that in less than 28 days. Feel free to put down in the comments what you're currently working on. I love to hear about what people are currently writing. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'm trying to build a beautiful little community on here, and so I'm always looking for more people to watch my content and then to interact with in the comments and then through other ways. I have an Instagram as well if you want to see it. It is at Meadow L. Marie. I hope to see you again in about 2 weeks when I'm starting the third draft of Project Pirate. I will see you soon. Bye!